Do you read me? Do you read me? Is there anyone out there listening? Hello, everyone, and anyone who's listening to this at this time. This is the Contemplative Currents podcast, and this is Shea Aquino. And today, I want to talk about something that I've been pondering over, and it's how can we see that we are cared for? How can we see uh, that we are all right, that we are cared for? And I got inspired to press the record button on this one after a walk with one of my friends, Lena, this afternoon. We were walking and just talking about adulting generally, and we started reflecting on how simple life was when we were kids, and how we didn't have to worry about all the things that we worry about right now. We just lived, right? We had no responsibilities. And I'm beginning to see how, like, for us at that time, the people who would carry the sense of responsibility would be our parents. I mean, in a typical family, right? And with our parents taking care of us, with our parents lifting the burden of responsibilities for us, all we had to do is just show up in life. And now that we're adults, uh, well, we have one more thing to add to our shoulders, and it's responsibilities. And sometimes these responsibilities, they feel like they're crushing, right? They feel like, we just want a break from our life. We don't want to think about about work or taxes or cleaning up. We just want everything to be done for us, right? At least that's my experience. But I'm beginning to see that a lot of our sense of responsibility, or how we hold that burden of responsibility, comes from our training, in our constant programming and training, and overuse of memory or sorry, of imagination. So for the most part, we have learned to project into the future, and that's really a lot of what adulting is really that. Oh, what is next year going to look like? What's my future going to look like, and how can I prepare for the future right now? And so in our projection into the future, in our imagination of what the future may hold, we tend to hold stress. We tend to hold stress within our bodies. And so, just thinking, contemplating on this, I realized, I was thinking, and I think this would have been a better one to articulate in writing. But I find there are similarities between our childhood self and our adult self, um, based off of three things. One, the experience of mind, the experience of activity, and the experience of self. And what I mean by that is, as kids, our experience of mind was not much different from our experience of mind as adults, right? As kids, we still face even while we didn't have responsibilities, while we're, playing around with our friends, we still experienced fear, we still experienced sadness, we still experienced joy, enjoyment, we still experience irritation, right? And as adult, it's the same frequency of, or it's the same density. Oh no, well, I should say frequency of emotions that we still witness. Why? Because of the mind body complex, so to say. Um, so that hasn't changed in us, responsibility or no responsibility. The other experience is the experience of activity. And for me, what I mean by that is, as kids, we had things to do, whether it's homework or we had to build a castle and we got frustrated while trying to build the castle because it was always like crumbling. Or if you had like, I remember the experience of trying to build things with Legos, and I would get frustrated when it's not coming out the way that I want it to come. Or I would be tasked with, or I would want to visit a friend or visit a childhood friend, and my mom would give me stipulations like, you have to clean your bedroom or mop the floor, clean the glasses before you can go to your friend's house, you know. And to me, this mirrors our experience of adulthood, where we have to, do the laundry, fold clothes, clean the house, um, show up at a job. Very same experience, or very similar in a lot of ways, in a lot of ways, in uh degree, uh in how do I in commensurate degree. I think that's the word I'm looking for here. So I don't think it was much different, or our experience, whether in childhood or in adulthood, were much different when it comes to the experience of activity. But one thing that's also obvious is the experience of self. As children, I want to project here that this is my experience, and maybe you may find that a memory for you, but there's still an experience of knowing that you are. Maybe I should talk for myself here. There's still, for me, there was still the sitting down to realize that there's something interesting about my existence. Of course, I didn't give it some philosophical depth of thought, you know, but I still am. I still recognize that I am. And now with adulthood, it's still the same experience, even though most of our experiences as adults are our recognition of the experience of self is covered by the multiplicity of our thoughts and the complexity of our thought structures. So we tend to not recognize that there's something behind, or there's this awareness behind all the activities of all of our activities and all the experience of mind. There's still something that witnesses everything. And so I like to use this thought experiment. If you took a photo of yourself, if you held a photo of yourself when you were a kid, you would notice that, well, the body changed, but the essence is still the same, holding it's still the same essence that sees the photo, that's holding the photo, that's recognizing that the body changed. There's that essence, there's that you, that's you. If that makes any sense. There's still that essence that recognizes that you are. And so I would say the real contrast, like I mentioned earlier, the real difference between our childhood experience, for the most part, I mean, under normal circumstances here, the most striking difference is obviously responsibilities, the weight of responsibilities, and the weight of responsibilities are weighty because of our what's the word, our leaning into imaginative thinking about the future, or our constant withdrawal from memory of the past. So what I in thinking about, just ruminating over this on my walk. Of course, this took like 3 minutes, but and this my recording here is taking more than, or well, it's going to take about 10 minutes here. Well, I thought about this for I spent a few 2, 3, or 4 minutes just thinking about this. What I find is our experience of our the weight of responsibility is always about the future or the past. And we have to be able to come to that understanding that for us to feel like we were kids again, we have to be we have to lean more into the immediacy of experience. So think about it as kids. Once again, this is generally speaking, this is typically speaking, right? I recognize some people may have had more troublesome childhoods, but as kids, we wanted to play now. you know, we wanted to quickly do our homework so that we could play later or something like that. But when we were doing our homework, we were heavily invested in, at least I was, maybe I should talk, I really should talk for myself in this situation. But we would, as kids, we were not thinking about what's going to happen to me when I'm as an 8-year-old boy who's playing. I wasn't thinking what's going to happen to me in 15 years. I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, what's my retirement going to be like? I wasn't thinking, oh man, I'm getting old. Maybe I'm not gonna get married. All I was my my experience had an immediacy to it. I was more present in my life. I was more present to the situations, the activities, the circumstances within my space. Um, of course, unless I go in trouble and my mom is like, "Hey, when I get home, you're going to face the wall." Then, um, I start to suffer, and in that situation, what I'm doing is I'm pulling again from the imaginative functions of mind to imagine the torture that's going to happen to me. And in imagining the torture, my body can't see that the torture isn't already happening. And so my heart would start to race, my palms would start to sweat, and all of that. But I mean, those experiences were there were there aren't so many of those experiences. So for most children, what is clear to me, for most a lot of children, there's an immediacy of experience. And so as adults, I think we I think my suggestion here, of course, if this resonates with you, is to lean more into the immediacy of your experience. If you're washing dishes, you want to be there washing dishes. If you're filing your taxes, look at those numbers. Not in, don't get lost in thoughts. Be there with the activity of filing taxes. If you're working, you're in front of your computer or working, you know, be there noticing your environment, noticing your hands against the keyboard, noticing what you are noticing. All right. What if, just what if we could reawaken that childhood um, e- curiosity, that childhood aura, that childhood energy to be one with our experiences, to be there where we are, to be exactly where our feet is. I am remembering at this moment a few things that was recorded of Jesus in the book of Matthew. I think it was Matthew 18. Um, I think Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." And I mean, of course, I don't see entering the kingdom of heaven as a geographical location. I see it as an experience that's readily available in this very moment. So we we should we are encouraged, and if you can resonate with this, we're encouraged to become like little children. What does that mean? What really does that mean? Isn't it about the cessation of a sense of wanting to control one's destiny, wanting to control life, wanting to take pick up responsibilities and hold on to responsibilities as if um we have life figured out? Isn't it being like little children? Isn't it um isn't it more rewarding realizing that our the responsibilities have been tossed onto our parents, right? If we do have uh responsible parents, we know that we are cared for. We know that we are taken care of. Now consider the universe. The universe has no ill for anyone. I feel like, you know, I could see how when we when we raise our arms in surrender to the universe, knowing that we are children of the universe, we our activities, our our incarnation, so to say, and I'm not talking about reincarnation or anything. I'm talking about the uh, this energetic vessel is comes out directly from the universe. Perhaps we can trust that the universe, trust that God can take care of us. Still, I'm remembering a passage from the scriptures also recorded about Jesus where he said, "Do not worry about what you will wear. Do not worry about what you will eat. Tomorrow will take care of itself." And then said, the birds of the air, they neither spin or uh, toil or something like that. I think that's what he said. Neither spin or toil. Yes, they're taken care of, or they're catered to by the Heavenly Father. I think that's something to hold in contemplation. Something to hold as I think just thinking about that, holding that understanding brings a lot of relief, brings a lot of freedom, doesn't it? That we are cared for by the universe. And now this doesn't mean that shit doesn't hit the fan. I'm not trying to be delusional to say that things in our lives don't erupt in directions that we would not prefer. But I'm saying that if we can rest in that, if we can rest in that understanding that the universe has got us, when even when shit hits the fan, we know that things are working for us. No wonder the writer to the episode, the group of people in I think it was Corinth. I can't remember which of the letters it was. Said to them, all things work together for good to those who are called. I think that's what he says. Why? Because all things do work together for good for all of us. In the moment, sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Let's be honest. Sometimes it just doesn't feel like it. But if we can rest in that childhood carefreeness, in all of this, I still want to say that this isn't about relegating our our being irresponsible, and it's not so much about relegating our duties to the background and saying, hey, I'm not going to do anything. It's not about not taking responsibility or accountability for one's life. It's realizing that it's it's the universe uses us to take care of itself. And so, in our activities, in full surrender, we can be fully surrendered while in activity, knowing that every decision, every activity, every step that we take is ordered. That everything that every direction, it doesn't matter if we go left or it doesn't matter if we go right, we are still cared for. It doesn't matter what presents itself to this within the screen of awareness. We are untouched. And so being able to recognize that who we truly are children of the universe. And as children, we are part and parcel of the universe. And being part and parcel of the universe, this energetic, undescribable mystery that I'm just roughly calling the universe. When we realize that we're a part of it, and by part, it doesn't mean that because we are part of it, there's another part of it that's missing that's missing our own part, or that we're a fragment of it, and so there's a complete one that we're attached or detached from. It's that we are at the core of it, being children of the universe, being children of God, being children of this mystery. Is we're just a fractal of that whole, of the whole. And I think it's Rumi that said I'm misquoting this. I'm going to misquote this, but he said something about the entire ocean is in a drop, and a drop is in the ocean, or something like that. It's the same thing I'm trying to communicate here. Isn't just digging into this, just being with this understanding, isn't that just so freeing? Tell me it's not. Tell me it's not. Tell me how it's not. That we can know that we are cared for, irrespective of what presents itself in the screen, in our awareness. Maybe that's something that we can. Maybe that's what it means to surrender, to drop our weapons, to drop our tools and machines, and all the ways that we think that we can protect ourselves. Just drop them, knowing that we are cared for. And so, in being cared for, perhaps those tools would then be used by the universe um, to show us care. Uh, Friends, I hope this lands well for someone. I hope that this is a thought that brings deep relief to you, as it has to me. See you in another episode of the Contemplative Currents podcast, and grace and peace to you.